class, and welcome to the video Understanding the Fieldwork Assignment Theory to Observation. That's what our fieldwork assignment is called in 517, Theory to Observation, because the idea is you're going to take the theories that we're learning in class, understand how they translate into the classroom through strategies, and then go into the classroom and look for those strategies and connect them back to the theories. This is worth 20% of your grade, and it is due on December 12th. This assignment may be submitted up to a week late with a 10% point penalty, but it may not be revised due to when it is in the semester. Everything I'm going to show you is in the Major Assignments folder on the course site. If you look in there, there's a list of all of our major assignments, and the fieldwork is close to the bottom of that screen. If you open that folder up, the fieldwork folder, at the bottom of it, you'll see a link for chalk and wire where you see the blue arrow. And that is the link you need to click at the beginning of this process to activate or reactivate your chalk and wire account. So if you've been at Mercy, you realize that we use a portfolio system called Chalk and Wire that helps you collect different types of fieldwork from different courses. Professors have access to this. Your clinical placement supervisor will have access to this. And so what you need to do is click on that link and follow the guidelines, the steps to activate or reactivate your chalk and wire account. So at the end of the semester, you can fill out your fieldwork log for this fieldwork experience. The rest of the folder is dedicated to resources that you'll need to complete your fieldwork. Probably the most important document is at the top, the instructions and rubric, and we'll be walking through that document. But also keep in mind there is a fieldwork observation plan that's a separate document and separate link. The permission to observe form is just a letter signed by the dean that you can take to schools to verify your assignment. So if they ask you for something that says, is this a valid assignment, you can print that off and send it to them. You don't have to return it to me, the instructor. And that next to last link, Fieldwork Theory to Observation Submit here, is where you actually upload your paper onto Blackboard when you're finished. Let's take a look at the instructions for this assignment. As I said, it's worth 20% of your grade, and it's due on December 12th. It may be turned in up to a week late, but no more than that, please, because then I hit up against a grading deadline, but it can't be revised. So what you're going to do is, this assignment should take at least about 10 hours. And 6 hours out of those 10 hours will be going into a classroom to observe for a minimum of 6 hours. First, you're going to need pretty quickly to locate a school and a classroom that corresponds to your certification area. So what does that mean? Well, if you're in early childhood, it means that you're going to go into a classroom that could be preschool all the way up to 2nd grade. If you're elementary, it would be 1 to 6, and if you're adolescent, it would be 7 to 12. This is an adolescent classroom primarily, so you're going to be going into a middle school or high school classroom. I also would like it to match your content areas. So if you're adolescent English, try to get into an English classroom. If you're adolescent math, try to get into a math classroom. Students sometimes ask me if they can go in a special ed classroom. You may do that if your certification area includes an add-on certification for students with disabilities. Otherwise, stick to the content area. It's important to note that you can't observe in your own classroom. So you can't observe in a classroom in which you're a teacher or in which you're a teaching assistant. And the reason for this is you can't teach and observe at the same time. Also, try to vary your observations so that you're not always going back to the same school. When you get to the end of your classes and you'll be presenting your portfolio to the clinical supervisor and to the clinical placement coordinator, they're going to look at the types of placements you've had. And if you've only been to one school, that could present a problem. So try to get out and observe different settings. Go to a high needs school, go to a more affluent school, observe in suburbia, observe in urban, even if you can get to a rural school, that's a good idea. Observe different grade levels. The point with these fieldwork observations is that you're going to be certified to teach in a wide range of settings, and this will give you an opportunity to observe in a wide range of settings. It's important also to note that you can't duplicate papers or even fieldwork observations for different courses. This is mandated by the state. If you try to submit a paper on the same observation to two different classes, in my class you may receive a 0 or you may be asked to redo it. I'm going to step out of the instructions for a moment and look at the fieldwork observation plan. This is due October 10th, and it's a paper that or a form that you must submit that basically gets you to think about and contact a school where you can do your field work. I don't want you actually going out into the school to do the field work until about the middle to end of October, but this is due October 10th. It asks you where do you plan to conduct your observation, what's the address, what grade level, do you work in this school. It asks you a series of questions. This form and the link to submit it are both in the fieldwork folder. So don't forget to submit that, and if I have any questions, I'll contact you. Going back to the instructions, so now let's say you've lined up your observation beginning around the middle to end of October. Once we've covered these theories, feel free to go in and start your observations, 6 hours. Some of you might question why it says 10 hours in the syllabus and you only have to observe for 6. Well, the reason is that 4 hours will probably be what it takes you, at least 4 hours, to organize and write your papers. So what you're going to do is you're going to record your observations, that is, take notes. You're going to take notes on all kinds of things, and then you're going to relate what you see going on in the classroom to at least 3 of the following 6 theories: Piaget's theory, Vygotsky's theory, Erickson's, Kohlberg's, Skinner's, or Eccles. Anything other than these theories must be pre-approved. You can send me an email and say, Dr. H, can I discuss this theory instead? Please note that constructivism and direct instruction, which we'll be talking about later in the course, are not theories. They're methods of teaching, so don't include those as theories. Your paper should be a minimum of 4 to 6 pages, double space, with at least 1 citation and reference. The sections of your paper, and I encourage you to use headings like we've learned in class, context of the observation. So what date did you go in? What time did you observe? What school, grade level, teacher, location, number of students, anything you can think of, a few paragraphs to give your observation a context. The lesson activities. This is what did you see occurring in the classroom? What were the lesson or lessons being taught? This should not be the bulk of your paper, by the way. This should be enough detail so that the reader, I can see the lesson occurring. I can tell what took place in the classroom. The lesson activities are important, but again, they're not the major focus of the paper. Describe the 3 theories in a couple of paragraphs each. What do the theories say? Include enough details that you've hit the highlight or the important things about the theories. And then, this is the most important section. How do the theories relate to what you observed in the classroom? So for example, if you witnessed a teacher using reinforcement and punishment, you could relate that to Skinner's theory of operant conditioning. But you have to be explicit in that section about how it relates. Finally, a reflection of what you learned in the assignment, which should be more than a conclusion. You might think about what you learned, what surprised you, what misconceptions you had that have cleared up, what you took away that you could use in your own classroom, and other things. A reference sections, remember that your citations must match your references and vice versa. Then you're going to save your paper, proof and edit it, and submit it to Blackboard. You don't have to upload it to Chalk and Wire. You have to fill out your fieldwork log on Chalk and Wire. Here's the grading rubric. You can look at the instructions. This is at the bottom, at the at the end of the file. You're going to be graded on whether you have a complete observation plan. So yes, that's part of your fieldwork grade. Whether you've completely described the context of the observation, whether you describe the lesson activities occurring with enough clarity, whether you describe the 3 learning or motivation theories that you selected in enough detail, whether you related those activities and the strategies you saw the teacher using in the classroom to those theories. And again, 3 theories, you only have to relate 1 strategy you saw. So it's not like you have to have 3 strategies for 3 theories. You have to be able to relate it in some way, usually through a strategy, to a learning theory. Whether you adequately reflected on learning, so you didn't just write a conclusion. Whether you have the right number of citations and references. By the way, one of them, you can use your textbook as a citation. And whether they follow APA. The conventions, whether the paper is well written, spelling is correct, grammar is correct, and APA is followed. And finally, whether all parts have been uploaded. That is, it's the paper uploaded to Blackboard and has the fieldwork log been completed on Chalk and Wire. That's it. Any questions? This is an important assignment. Please don't hesitate to email me.